Hey, church. So, every preacher, every sermon has some material that you have to cut. Things that you really would love to have put in there, but that time won't allow you to develop or to talk about. I don't do this every week, but there were some things about this week's sermon that I desperately wanted to try and fit in that sermon, but I didn't have the time to develop with you. So there's a couple of things that I want to add to the sermon a day later as you have had time, hopefully, to allow that sermon to just kind of cook in your soul, for you to walk around in the feet of that sermon that we preached yesterday. If you need a little bit caught up on what we talked about yesterday, I really said, hey, if you're going to organize your home, you got to start with God's image. God created you in His image, and if you want to create a heavenly home and order it and have purpose and function for it, then you have to start with His image working in your life. You have to try and mirror God's character, activity, and nature in your life. And then I said, God gave you rulership, dominion, care, and concern over all of your home. That was for you. And you have an opportunity to take the pieces and the fragments that are available to you in your homes and create purpose and function out of those things. And one of the things that I said yesterday as we walked through that sermon was, hey, we order our space. We order our kitchen table. We order our closets. And that's great. And our life of dominion and rulership in our homes does begin really in our physical space. In Genesis, it begins in physical space. God gives dominion over Adam in physical space. But if I had time, if I could have expanded that sermon, I would have gone from physical space into our relationships. Because later on, God creates from Adam a woman, and now there is this dynamic relationship that's being made part of the purpose and the function that God has created Adam in part of. You see, our homes are not just about our physical space, they are too about our relationships. And so adults, church members, people of God, God has given you order not just about your space, He's given you order about your relationships. Throughout Scripture, God has been desiring for us to be about ordering our relationships. He wants us to order and place people with the proper care and love and concern. Think about what Jesus said when He was asked, what's the greatest commandment? When He was asked, what's the greatest commandment? He said, hey, there's two things you got to know. Number one, you got to love God. Number two, you got to love people. When I look at the Ten Commandments, those two commands come out. If you look at the Ten Commandments, how they're ordered, it's love God vertically, love people horizontally. When I go into the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5 through 7, and I look at all the things that Jesus says, love God and love people come out clearly. Now, church, part of this idea of caring and concern, ruling over our homes and an image driving responsibility of the picture providing for us next steps is that you and I would find order in our relationships. So you're not supposed to just find order in your space. You need to find order in your relationships. And I said yesterday that one of the byproducts, one of the results of all of this purpose and function is rest. We need rest. We're made not so that we can go like the Energizer Bunny forever and ever and ever, but we're made so that once in a while we have rest, and our homes can be a place of great rest, so that we have function and purpose and functionality to go and help people find and follow Jesus. But something that I wanted to say that I just didn't have time to was that another product, another result that all of this creates for us is wholeness. You see, if our space is right with God, if our relationships are right with God, then God is providing for us wholeness. Think about it for a moment. If our relationship vertically with God is where it should be because we're taking the pieces God has given to us, we're taking the fragments that He's given to us, and we're ordering them properly, we're taking the right kind of responsibility, then what begins to happen? Wholeness. Because of my vertical relationship with God, it's affecting my horizontal relationship with everybody else. Everybody in my family, everybody in my neighborhood. And wholeness is a result. My life begins to be whole because I recognize who I am in Jesus, because I accept the responsibility of carrying His image in the world, and because I enjoy the purpose and the function that only God can give me. I wish I could have said all of that yesterday, but it would have been like a 45-minute sermon. And some of you with small children would have been very unhappy with me. And after all, it was Mother's Day. Everybody, I want you to know that I love you. And I pray that God goes with you and helps you to take the pieces and bring purpose, to take the fragments and create function. Go with God and be His image in the world. God bless.